Well, good morning, everyone. Sorry about all of the challenges that we just faced. Thanks for sticking on. But before we get started, I do want to thank you all for taking time out of your morning, of course, to step away from your business. The next 50 minutes, not 1 hour, you can't get back. So let's be real intentional about this time and turn off any distractions that you guys have that might keep you all from being able to focus on your business. I promise you all of those fires that need to get put out, everything that needs to be taken care of, all those people will be waiting for you at the end of this session. So go ahead and take a second just to turn those off. For those of you all that don't know me, my name is Patrice Miles, and I'm one of the coaches here at My Business on Purpose. I was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. I married my high school sweetheart, Lenny Miles, when I was 21, and I went to the University of Louisville for business. I was only one class away from my associate's degree, and I quit school because I was 20 years old and I was making $80,000 a year in the wireless industry with Bell South Mobility. Oh, to be 20 again, right? Now, do you guys remember the Nokia phone? Do you all remember that phone, the one that you had to actually press each button 3 times just to get to the number or the text that you wanted to be able to send? What about the Motorola flip phone? Do y'all remember when that came out? That was just the latest and greatest. And if you had one of those, you were definitely the cool kid on the block. Ultimately, I loved sales. I was making great money in the wireless industry, but I knew after a few years of doing this that this is not what I wanted to do forever. I had just had my first child, Kason, and I really wanted to be at his school functions. And this 9-to-5 corporate job was not going to allow me to do that. So my husband and I, we had watched some HGTV shows. We had watched Flip This House and other real estate shows. And again, we were in our 20s. So we figured, you know what, if they could do it, so could we. So in 2003, my husband and I, we decided to get into real estate. I joined a local brokerage, started out as a part-time agent, started some training, and within 6 months, I was able to quit my full-time job and do real estate full-time. My husband built his first house, and we decided to start Miles Custom Built Homes. He built the houses, I sold them. It was an amazing partnership. I got to run the business, do the marketing and sales, while also helping anyone in real estate who needed to buy or sell a home. The market was amazing back then, if you guys remember. We could not put a foundation in the ground quick enough. And everything we built, it sold at framing stage or before. Life was great. The money was pouring in. And then guess what happened? 2008 hit. Do you guys remember 2008? Yeah, the last house that we had, we could not even auction off. And we had never run a business before, so we did not have the systems or the processes in place, much less our finances, in order to survive a shift in the market like 2008 was. Ultimately, my husband had to close down the building business. He had to go out and get a real job. Now, I was determined to stay into real estate. I refused to go get a real job. So I decided that it would be a great idea to open up a Keller Williams realty brokerage. Once I started the brokerage and drank the Keller Williams Kool-Aid, I hired a coach, and this was my first experience with coaching. My business skyrocketed, and I quickly built the Miles and Smith Real Estate Group. At what time we actually had 12 team members that were all running the business for myself and my business partner. After several years of success of selling over 200 homes a year, I went on a missions trip with my church. Wanted to check off that Christian to-do list. And while I was there, I really felt called to missions. And so like crazy people, my husband and I, we sold everything we owned and we moved our family to Nigeria to work alongside Samaritan's Purse in rebuilding a hospital. During the 6 years that we spent there, I found a need for education. A lot of the orphans in the area were trying to come and get on Lenny's labor crews because they wanted to make money to pay school fees. So we started a nonprofit called Care Africa. And this is where My Business on Purpose comes in, the company that I coach for, the reason why you're here today. Scott, Beebe, and Thomas, 2 coaches on our team, they actually walked me through the nonprofit world because it is a completely different beast than the business world. But they helped me get Care Africa to a spot that it would run on its own without me. We currently have a school with about 213 children and 27 teachers. And with the Lord's help and the BOP tools that I get to coach on today, Care Africa runs in Nigeria without me. I have been back in the States now for almost 4 years, and my business on purpose has allowed me to continue to be the Lord's hands and feet to business owners like you all across the nation through coaching. Our mission here at BOP is to liberate business owners from chaos so they can make time for what matters most. So that's enough about me. I want to go around and quickly have you all introduce yourselves. So if you can post in the chat just your name, the name of your business, and where you are from. It is always so very interesting to get to see where people are from. So go ahead, take a second, open up your chat window and put in there, what's your name, the name of your business, and where you are from. Hi, Nicole. Who else is on here? Tell us where you're from. I'd love to see all the different states represented here. We've got Ohio. We've got Georgia, South Carolina, Michigan. Who else? We've got Florida. Who else stayed on the call and waited 10 minutes for us to show up? Michigan. Great. Texas. LA. All types of people. This is fantastic. Oh, I love it. I see I've got someone, Christy, with Nigerian parents. We need to talk sometime. All right, great. Well, keep on posting those in the things. But guys, today I really hope that you all walk away with three things. One is that I hope that you are super encouraged by what we talk about and the direction of your business in 2024. Second, I hope that you leave with some new ideas. And then third, I hope that you have a plan in place to implement those ideas and accountability to do so. Now, do you guys remember the pre-COVID days when you could walk into a grocery store and all the shelves were fully stocked? Or what about when you would go out to eat to a restaurant and they would have every item on the menu and the service was fantastic because they had plenty of help and plenty of workers? Or how about when construction materials actually showed up like clockwork? Or when you could put a house on the market and it sold in 30 seconds? Or when clients had empathy and patience and they treated you as the expert in your industry. Do you guys remember those times? Well, there is a British playwright, Michael Macmillan, that says, you can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. I want you guys to write that down. You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. As you come into the final weeks of 2023, you have an opportunity to think deeply through the new challenges that you will confront, the new mountains that you will climb, and the new opportunities that you will pursue in 2024. You guys have a choice. Or let me rephrase this. You have to make a choice. Will you gripe, moan, and mope about the bad customer service or no one wanting to work, those mean clients or those increased prices? Or what about those non-committal buyers and sellers, subcontractors or vendors, or just those irritating shipping delays? Or will you cut the string of excuses, limitations, and barriers and be free from the sludge and mudge of what Zig Ziglar calls stinking thinking? Guys, we are in a cesspool of negativity right now. Just turn on the news and you're going to hear, I hate my job. I hate these people. I hate this government. I hate that coach or that team or this country. It's everywhere. Guys, we are not called to falter. We are not called to fade. We have been called and built to flourish. And to flourish, we must intentionally control our mindset. And in order for you to flourish in 2024, you are going to have to be rid of that stinking thinking and embrace a new attitude of fortitude. Fortitude is the ability to display courage in pain, to go into new opportunities with a mindset of strength, believing we can do something rather than swimming in the cesspool of can't. I want you all to write that word down, fortitude. Write that word down. Again, it's the ability to display courage in pain, to go into new opportunities with a mindset of strength, believing we can do something rather than swimming in the cesspool of can't. Miss Jones is sending those nasty emails again. Guess what? We can learn to speak to her with truth and thoughtfulness. Your partner or subcontractor or vendor is not pulling their weight. We can show grace while influencing and bringing value in a way that serves everyone. A tough conversation needs to be had with a team member or maybe even a family member. We can plan the conversation in an appropriate way that brings value to everyone, a win-win mindset. We can do those things, but not with our current attitudes. Guys, never in the history of the American workforce have four separate generations worked so closely and communicated so seamlessly than what is happening right now. You have the boomers who are remaining in the workforce longer. You've got the Gen Zers who are entering into higher level roles earlier. The boomers, the Xers, the millennials, the Gen Zers, they're all interacting every day together. It's like a cocktail of Docker pleats meets peg legs meets skinny jeans, and now everyone is just totally confused. So you can throw your hands up and protect your generational brand, or you can make a decision to ignore the stinking thinking and embrace the generational diversity and the value that comes with it. We live in a world where some seemingly opposite things can be true at the same time. We can acknowledge mental health realities and still lead as business owners with perseverance. We can be flexible and still have budget limitations. As business owners, we can listen to our employees, but still steward the business. You can have grace and still speak truth. You can live in the now and still plan for the later. Each of us comes into this Zoom room with convictions and beliefs, but I challenge you to question your convictions. If your convictions are too weak to withstand questioning, then your convictions are not foundations by which you have the confidence to stand. So I want you to build and reinforce a new belief, a new conviction, and it's a belief that hard things can be done. Rocky decisions can be navigated, and they will lead to powerful outcomes that will bring the satisfaction that you desire in 2024. The generational realities in our modern workplace will challenge and frustrate us, and it will be a massive growth opportunity for all of us to retire our stinking thinking in 2023. Allow yourself the freedom to have your mind challenged. So when you think about stinking thinking, what is the number one obstacle or frustration in your industry today? Now, I just mentioned one, generational realities in the workforce, but what about your industry? What is the biggest obstacle or frustration you are facing that is challenging you today? I want you to write it in the chat. Go ahead, tell us, what is the biggest obstacle or frustration in your industry today? Post it in the chat just so we can see what are some of the things that you guys are facing right now that you're going to have a mindset change. All right, we've got hiring qualified people. Yes, we hear that over and over again. What are some of material lead times? Yes, we mentioned that earlier. What are some of the other frustrations and just challenges? Laws restricting how we do business. Yes, hiring qualified people again, and even retention, keeping those people. Sales cycles, city codes, finding those great employees. Yes, keep it coming. It's always nice to see that we're not alone. We all face the same challenges, right? Well, guys, there is 4 steps to a powerful 2024 business plan, and that's why you're here today. I work with my clients through the 4 Ps: purpose, people, profit, and processes. Now, each one of these Ps takes about 3 hours to train on, and we've only got about 35 minutes left. So this is going to be like drinking out of a fire hose. So make sure to have your paper out and your pen out. But I don't want you guys to worry, because one of our core values at BOP is to learn and implement. So just learn right now by taking good notes, and then I'm going to show you all a tool at the end to help you all implement the things that you wrote down. So number 1 is purpose. Why do you get out of bed every morning? Why do you keep turning that wheel every day? What is the vision for your business? Now, at my business on purpose, we coach on vision story, unique core values, and a mission statement. I want you today to just focus on the vision story. Now, a 1 or 2 sentence vision statement is beautiful, but I want you to actually detail it out into a vision story. And we do that here at BOP by looking at 6 categories. So I want you to write these down. And if you would like any of the templates that we are going over today, just private message me in the chat with your name, your email, and what template you would like, and I will make sure that you get those. So, all right, let's look at the top of the vision story. First of all, we need to identify when we want to reach this vision. We say 6 months is too long and 6 months is too short and 5 years is too long. So I normally recommend right around 2 years because that's obtainable. The very first category is family and freedom. What is the vision for your family and freedom over the next 2 years? Do you want to take 2 vacations a year and be able to turn your phone off? Do you want to be at every one of your kids' sporting events? Do you want to take half days on Fridays, or do you want to stop working weekends? What has your business taken from you that you want to take back in the next 2 years? What vision do you have for your family and your freedom? If you remember, when I was in wireless sales, mine was that I wanted to be at all of my son's school functions. That was my vision, and that's what helped me to be successful in real estate. What do you want? The next one is finances. What are your financial goals for 2024? Are you doing 2 million in gross sales and you want to push for that 2.5 million? What is your financial vision for your business over the next 2 years? The third is products and services. What products and services do you currently have? Do you currently offer? And then what do you want to add to your business in 2024 and 2025? We know the market's going to be different. So what are those products and services that you want to bring on to make yourself a little bit more unique than your competition? The next one is personnel. Who is currently on your team? We saw several people mention some of their obstacles and frustrations about their current team. So who's currently on your team? And then what roles do you want to hire for in 2024? Is it time for that bookkeeper finally, or that virtual assistant, or that full-time project manager, maybe the next apprentice? Or does someone need to be replaced on your team in the next 2 years? So what does the personnel need to look like for the next 2 years? Next is your ideal client. What does your current ideal client look like? And what do you want your ideal client to look like? Who do you want to target and who do you want to work with? And then who are you going to say no to when that call comes in? Who do you not work with? Spell out who you will work with and who you are not going to be working with in 2024 and 2025. Culture is next, and that's the last category. What does the current culture in your business look like? What do you want people to say about working with you and for you? Do you want to start having training days or team outings every quarter? Maybe you want to start being better about celebrating birthdays and work anniversaries. What is the vision for your culture of your business over the next 2 years? What would you want a Google review to say about working with you or for you? All of these things that we've just talked about cast the vision for your business so that you can grow in the next 2 years. So what is your vision story moving into 2024? Now, the second P that we coach on is people. So who is on your team, or who needs to be on your team in 2024 so that you can reach your vision? Do you need to delegate some things and hire someone part-time, full-time, or virtually in 2024? Do you even have the right people on the bus right now? At My Business on Purpose, we measure progress by team meetings that don't suck, a bulletproof hiring and onboarding process, and clearly defined job roles, org chart, and a cultural calendar. Now, again, we can only focus on one thing in the time that we have today. And so we're going to focus on the hiring process. Do you even have a hiring process? What about when you bring on new subcontractors, or that next virtual assistant, or maybe a new apprentice or an administrator? Do you have a hiring process, or do you just meet someone and have a gut check and then you just hire them because you need to fill that seat? And then you find out 3 months later, and $10,000 in times and resources that you spent training that person, that they're not a fit for the role. Well, here is a quick 6-step hiring process that you can replicate over and over and over again. Now, write this down. And again, if you would like the template, just private message me in the chat with your name, email, and the hiring process template, and I'll make sure that you get this. But step 1, guys, is the phone interview. Do you have this mapped out with specific questions that you ask at your phone interview, or are you just winging it when you call them? What are those initial phone interview questions that you can maybe even delegate out to someone in your office to do that first interview over the phone? What are those phone interview questions? You need to have those written down. Step 2 is the first live sit-down interview. Now, this is a time where you are going to actually share about you and your vision, your mission, your values, your culture. This is going to tell you, the candidate, everything about your business because they need to determine if they even want to be a part of a business like yours. So do you have this spelled out so that you don't have to think when the candidate comes in for the interview? Step 3 is due diligence. This is where we are calling the candidate to let them know, hey, we think we want to move forward, but we have a few more things that we need to do first. Number 1, we want to do a personality profiling test. Number 2, we're going to call on your references. And number 3, I've got some homework for you to do. So in this step 3, have you decided on a personality profiling tool that you need to use? Do you have your questions written down to ask their references when you call? Guys, these are busy people. They don't have time to just hang out on the phone with you and answer your questions. So be ready with those questions when you call that reference. What homework can you assign to the candidate? How are you going to test the candidate to know that they know what they say they know? If it's an administrator, have them put together a document or follow some simple instructions to see how good they are. If it's a project manager, take them into the field. Ask them some questions on site to see how much they know. What homework can you have them do so that they can prove they know what they say they know? Step 4 is the second live interview, preferably with some other team members. Here's where you're going to deep dive into the role and see how they act with the other team members. Again, do you have this written down and documented so that you cover everything that you want to in that interview, from what their ideal weekly schedule will look like, what processes they will use? Step 5 is the spousal dinner or lunch or social. In his 2011 book, EntreLeadership, Dave Ramsey recommends that companies vet spouses to ensure their hire is not married to crazy. Dave says when hiring someone, you employ more than just the person. You're taking on the whole family. And when they are married to someone who is domineering, unstable, or simply full of drama, you will end up with a team member who can't be creative, productive, or excellent. So are you going to lunch or dinner with your candidate and their spouse to find out if crazy lives at home? Step 6 is simple, guys. It's now time for that phone call or that email with that offer. It's so simple, right? Well, not to overwhelm you, but you're not quite finished, because once you've taken a candidate through your 6-step hiring process, you do have to have an onboarding process ready to go. So that way, when they come into the office on day number 1, you actually have a training plan in place so that they can be successful. So, what people do you need to add or subtract for 2024? And do you have the recruiting, hiring, and onboarding processes ready to go so that your new team member can be successful? All right, guys, if you remember, what's our third P? Profit. This is the number one struggle with most of the business owners that I get to work with. They got into the business because they loved what they do, not because they wanted to do bookkeeping. At BOP, we measure progress through multiple bank accounts, level 2 dashboards, budgeting, forecasting, and job costing. Again, limited time, we can only focus on one. Multiple bank accounts is what we're going to talk about. We make this very simple with a cash management system taken from the book Profit First. Guys, profit and loss statements are great, but that number at the bottom can be so deceiving. Have you heard of the toothpaste mentality? When your toothpaste tube is really big and brand new, you will squeeze that toothpaste out on the toothbrush in abundance because there's plenty in there. But when the tube is almost empty and you've rolled it and squeezed it all the way up, you're real careful with how much you squeeze out, aren't you? This is what a cash management system does for your business. When you have a number at the bottom of that P&L, you don't really know what is yours, what is the business's for expenses, what's for the tax man, what needs to stay in there for payroll. This cash management system is a game changer for all of my clients. They are finally managing their cash, and their cash is no longer managing them. There is freedom when you can open your bank app and see this. This is my nonprofit's bank account. And you can see if my events coordinator messages me and says, hey, we want to do a booth at the local farmer's market. Do we have money? Well, how much is it? Oh, it's $500. Yeah, Look at our exhibits account. There's plenty of money in there. Go for it. If somebody applies for a scholarship through our organization, I don't have to wonder, do we even have any donations for scholarships? Yes, we do, because we've been flushing. Now, ultimately, guys, I don't have time to dig into this system because the percentages that you flush are different for every industry. I suggest that you buy the book and you can do it yourself, or you can set up a discovery call with me at the end of this masterclass and we can talk more about this. But I do want to leave you with this question. What do you need to do or what do you need to put in place in 2024 to measure your profitability better? Let me ask you that again. What do you need to put in place in 2024 to measure your profitability better? All right, the last P is processes. At BOP, our progress tools are our master process roadmap and keeping to a weekly schedule. Now, small businesses are notorious for making it up as we go or shooting from the hip and reacting to every impulse that comes their way, like the inflatable tube man. Except, guys, the tube man, he actually has you beat because at least he's tethered to the ground. Processes bring boundaries, guys, and boundaries bring freedom. Everyone in your organization, they want that freedom. So capture the process by writing it down. Own the process by actually using it, and then share the process with everyone in your business, and then repeat the process over and over and over again. At My Business on Purpose, we create a master process roadmap to house all your processes. And then together, we craft the processes that your business needs to liberate you and your team from chaos. So what processes do you need to develop, improve, or revitalize in 2024? What processes do you need to develop, improve, or revitalize in 2024? Or more importantly, what process do you need to develop so you can become more profitable, so you can hire the right people to help you reach your purpose in 2024? So are you all super overwhelmed right now with the 4 Ps? Because we've talked about casting your vision, recruiting, hiring, onboarding, profit, and processes. So many things to do. Where in the world do you begin? Well, my medication for any business is the tools that we use here at My Business on Purpose with our clients. I am super blessed to walk alongside business owners all across the country. This is my client, Rick Dietrich. He's a builder in Hilton Head. He will tell you that the Level 2 dashboard is his favorite tool because it gives him a clear picture of his business finances. Chris Click, a remodeler in Charleston, South Carolina that I work with, he has taken 2 one-week vacations this year thanks to casting the vision for his family and freedom. He would say one of his favorite tools is the vision story. Bridget Fraser in Bluffton, South Carolina is moving from a food truck vendor to a brick and mortar store in 2024. And the Master Process Roadmap has allowed her to get everything organized so that the day she opens for business, she will be completely systematized and processed. Mike Zelski in Tampa, Florida is a remodeler who is still working on site. And he asked himself one day, he said, what happens to the business if something happens to me? One of his favorite BOP tools is the Delegation Roadmap because we are delegating his tasks to existing and new roles on the team so that he can start phasing himself out of the business. Dr. Jessica Mendelson and her DPC practice would say Profit First is their favorite tool. And then Van Brunt and Company, a commercial GC out of Texas, would say that the 12-week plan is their favorite tool because it has allowed them to start taking goals and breaking them down into bite-sized pieces. And guys, that is the tool that I want to leave you with today. Because we all go into business events like this and we write down all types of things that we want to do in our lives and in our business, and we go away super encouraged. But guess what? Tomorrow comes with all its fires to put out and people to take care of. And with each day that goes by, you forget about today and the list that you created. So at BOP, we coach on 12-week plans, which is based on the book 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. This is one of our core values, is to learn and implement. So you guys just learned a lot. And so the 12-week plan will help you actually implement what you learned today. So I'm going to quickly explain this because we actually have 20 minutes left, which is great. We'll have plenty of time for questions in the end. But the 12-week plan this is how it works. There are 52 weeks in the year, right? So you can have a 12-week plan in the first quarter of the year, the second quarter of the year, the third quarter of the year, and the fourth quarter of the year. Because there is 52 weeks in the year, you will actually get a 1 week in between each 12-week plan for retooling. So the way that we set up the 12-week plan is at the top, you see an end date for the plan. So March 2024 would be your first one. If you did your first 12-week plan in the first quarter of 2024, it would end on March 2024. The second thing you do is you write down 3 goals at the top that you want to achieve in that first quarter. Look at your vision story and decide, what are the 3 most important things that I need to work on in 2024, and write those down. Second, you're going to bring those goals down and then write what tactics need to happen for you to reach the goal. If you remember, one of my goals was to be at my son's school functions. So a tactic would be that I would need to get the school calendar from the school to find out when those events even are. And then I would need to put those events in my calendar. And then a third thing would be, maybe I want to contact the teacher to see what I can help with. You list your tactics one by one by one, so that way you can start checking those things off as you get closer and closer to your goal. The last thing that you need to do, though, is you need to time block in your calendar to actually review and work on the 12-week plan every week. Don't just make a beautiful 12-week plan and say, oh, isn't this so nice and pretty? No, put it in your schedule to actually work on those 3 goals. Guys, life and business will always be challenging. Life is challenging. Chaos is never going to be eradicated from our environment, but we can be liberated from it if we continue making an intentional effort. I will be following up with you all in the next few weeks to find out how you're making an intentional effort for 2024. When you signed up, you had to submit your email address. So I'll be emailing you, and don't ignore it and don't ghost me. Use that email as an accountability measure for you and just respond to it. And you can even say, Patrice, I've done nothing. Or you can say, yes, I've done this or I've done that. As I mentioned in the beginning, I wanted you all to walk away with 3 things. I wanted you to leave encouraged about 2024, and your vision story should encourage you. I also wanted you to walk away with some new ideas. You've seen a cash management system called Profit First. Hopefully, you're going to order the book today or schedule a discovery call with me to figure out how to put it all together. You also got to see a hiring process that's going to save you thousands of dollars because you aren't going to waste time anymore just hiring a warm body. The last thing that I wanted was for you to have a plan and accountability. The 12-week plan will have you ready to go for the first quarter of 2024. And then you just need to continue to create a new one every quarter. Accountability will be my email to you in a few weeks, or you can start the new year off right and get serious about your business and invest in coaching with me on a biweekly basis. Make the decision to stop working in your business and start working on your business in 2024. If you would like to set up a discovery call with me to learn more about investing in your business through one-on-one coaching, then scan this QR code, and we'll also put the link in the chat. Now, this is our Healthy Business Owner Assessment. It takes about 7 minutes to fill out. And as soon as you take the assessment, your score will be sent to you and me immediately. And then I will reach out to you to set up a time so that we can discover how I can help take your business to the next level in 2024. All right. Well, there is that QR code for the Healthy Business Owner Assessment. Go ahead and scan that and fill it out. If you're brave enough, I will tell you a 0 is not good, but a 40 is excellent. And you will get that score right away. And I will also get that. And then I'll reach out to you to set up a time so we can discover if coaching is something that you would want to invest in 2024. All right, I'm going to hang out and take any questions. So feel free to come off of mute if you have questions. Otherwise, if I don't have anybody ask anything, we'll end today's call and let you guys get back to work with 15 minutes to spare, even though we showed up 10 minutes late. All right. Any questions? Was it Bueller?
I have one question, Patrice. This is Nicole.
All right, Nicole.
So I obviously know about your program, which is awesome. But one thing I've really never asked is what is the time frame to run through typically all of those 4 Ps? What does that look like from a business owner perspective signing up?
Yeah, that is a great question, Nicole. It, of course, depends on the business owner because everybody works differently. Everybody has different personalities. And some people start at a different starting point than others. But if you're really kind of starting from scratch and you don't have a lot of systems or processes put together, it's going to take at least a year for us to implement all those 3 Ps. But if you're a little bit more advanced and you have a lot of those things kind of already in place and we're really just analyzing them, tweaking them, then it's not going to take as long.
Awesome. So now is actually a good time to get started. We're starting a new year. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I see Leaders Realty. Thank you for the time. I'll wait to connect. Do you work with real estate agents? Yes, we actually have a roadmap just for real estate agents. Just checking the chat to see if we have any other questions on here. I've got several of you all who have messaged about getting the templates. We'll definitely make sure that we send those out. Let's see. Do you work with construction companies? Mario, 80% of my clients are in construction. We work with a lot of the Builder 20 groups, and we do the Build Expos as speakers. So naturally, the majority of our clients are in the construction field or contractor space. So yes, we love you guys. And Stacy, yes, would love the templates and to connect. Stacy, make sure to send me your email address. That way I have it. I'll send those quicker. I know everybody signed up and put their emails when they signed up, but it just saves me from having to go in there and search for it. Mario, yes. Mario, take the Healthy Business Owner Assessment. That's the great way to start. So that way we can see right away how healthy your business is. And then we'll set up a call and dive into that and see what you think. Stacy, thank you. All right. Oh, I see Laura is highly recommending. Thank you. So unless there are any other questions, I am going to go ahead and end our time. I do have the chat and we'll save that. And we'll, of course, we'll respond to you all. I'm heading out of town today to go to Charlotte to see my family for Thanksgiving. So it'll probably be Monday or Tuesday, but I will definitely make sure that you guys get all of those things. Thanks so much. And you guys enjoy the rest of your week.